The future of Google Ads is going to be massively focused around AI, and in this video, I want to specifically talk about what that's going to look like over the next couple of years, and also show you some new Google Ads AI features that are really exciting. So the first thing I need to quickly address is that because Google is moving more and more towards AI, I don't think that's going to mean that there's no need for human input or Google advertisers. We're still going to have to do things as advertisers. That's good news for those of us that work in the industry. For businesses that just want Google Ads to get the best DRS possible, perhaps they would want AI to do it all, but I just don't think that's going to be the case. Google has been using AI within its ad platform for years. This is a continuation of what we've already seen as opposed to something new and different. And actually, these new features, these new AI tools, I think are going to help us get much better results. I think they're really exciting process advertisers as opposed to something to be afraid of. Now, when we're talking about the future of Google Ads and the AI involvement in that, let's start sort of high level and then we'll work our way into more specific parts. The first thing we need to talk about obviously is Performance Max. So Performance Max is really Google's AI baby when it comes to ads. It's a campaign type that allows you to run your ads across all the various different Google ad campaign networks. It basically incorporates the different Google ad campaign types into one. It's called Performance Max. They are very much pushing it. Google are, and they want advertisers to use it. I'd strongly recommend that you do give it a go as an advertiser because it can help streamline things. Instead of having to set up all these different campaigns and get all the settings right, you can create a Performance Max campaign and take advantage of Google's really sophisticated AI that'll work out where your ads should be displayed. They'll even help you create ads based on some input that you give. It's a really fantastic tool, and it's only getting better if you want to know more about Performance Max. I've actually done a full tutorial showing you how to set it up from scratch. I'll include a link in the video description where you can go ahead and check that out. And one really interesting piece of information that Google recently released is that advertisers that use Performance Max on average get 18% more conversion than advertisers that don't, given the same budget. Now that's really exciting because 18% is certainly nothing to be sniffed at. That might be the difference between your campaign being nicely profitable and not. It might be the difference between your campaign being something that you can scale. So 18% is already significant. But the most exciting part is that a year ago, Performance Max been out a little while now. A year ago, the average improvement that you got by incorporating Performance Max into your ad campaign strategy was 13%. Now that's gone up to 18%. So you can see that not only is Performance Max helping us as advertisers, it's also getting better at doing so. And if we continue that trend over the next few years, it's going to be really very powerful. We're going to be generating less expensive leads. Less expensive sales is something all advertisers and any business advertising on this platform wants. So watch out for that. I think it's definitely moving in the right direction now. Before I show you those specific new AI features that I mentioned a minute ago, just want to quickly let you know that if this is all complicated, you don't want to do this yourself. You don't have the time. We can set all this up for you. We can create your campaigns, optimize and manage them. If you're interested, there's a link in the video description. Click on that, go through, book a call with my team members. Hopefully, we get a chance to work together. Okay, so let's take a look at these new Google Ads AI features. I'm in an example Google ad account, and I'm just going to quickly walk through the beginning of the campaign creation process. Click on new campaign to bring these up. We need to select an objective sales. We'll do just now, by the way. There's lots of warnings here. Don't worry about those. This is an example Ad account with not everything set up properly. I just use it for these videos. So I'm just going to click continue. You shouldn't see those within your account. And then of course we're going to select performance max, okay, campaign name, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to click continue here and we'll start new. I've obviously had a few goes previously and there are some drafts in there. So then we get into this bidding section. You can see the default here is maximizing conversion value. Given we selected a sales campaign, that's absolutely fine. I've got other videos that focus on bidding. What I want to talk about is this next section here called customer acquisition. And you see that it's underneath bidding and it's related. And you can see here that we've got this little option called optimize campaign for acquiring new customers. Now, if we go ahead and click on this, we will see that there are a number of different options that pop up down below. And I think just before we move into the specifics, the optimized campaign for acquiring new customers is an interesting thing that Google has added. And what they're doing here is they're responding to the sort of requests of advertisers. Many advertisers for a long time have worried about spending too much of their budget on existing customers. People already know about your business. They already search for your business. Why would you advertise them again? I think there is logic to advertise them again. I've created videos talking about that. You don't always want to sort of exclude previous customers, but there is something to be said for you do need to go ahead and acquire new customers. You don't want all of your budget just to be on people that have already enact with your business, already know about it, already searching for your brand terms and things along those lines, and they've added in these goals, what's called customer life cycle goals, to help deal with that. And there are two options. So we've got this first option here, and this is the one that's recommended. If you do use this feature called bid higher for new customers than existing customers, and that makes sense. Everyone's heard in the marketing world that it costs more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain an existing customer. And that's often used as a reason to retain your customers. And that's true. But as I already said, at some point, you need new customers. Otherwise, your overall sales are just going to slowly dwindle. So what this is allowing you to do is allowing Google to go, okay, we think it's going to cost this much to get this person to buy. We think it's going to cost a little bit less to get this previous customer to buy. But that's worth it because new customers are important. So we can see that we've got a few things that we need to enter in here to get this to work properly. So it says here to use this customer acquisition option, enter an additional value for new customers. So if I go ahead and click on edit value, which is something that you need to do, then we see here that we need to add in basically an adjustment. How much more valuable are new customers? And then Google gives you some information around how to define this. So we've got additional conversion value from new customers. This is just how much value a new customer's first purchase within a campaign using customer acquisition and purchase as a conversion. Go right? Okay, so enter in an amount that makes sense for your business. Obviously, this is going to vary wildly. They've just put in an estimate. Here said this is an example campaign. So it's not that accurate, but if I go ahead and pop in 35 pounds, for example, you can see that they've got an example over here of what that would look like. For example, if a customer's purchase conversion is valued at 4,378 pounds, that's not average. It's not the new customer. Specifically, you can allot 35 pounds more for new customers. You're basically saying new customers are worth this much more to my business because they're new and they may well go on and purchase again and all that sort of stuff, right? So you can see here, that's exactly what it says. That's what they're worth. And we can see that they provide this little graphic, existing customer value. So if we're reactivating a new customer on average, they're going to be worth this to our business. But if we get a new customer, we think they're worth this to our business. Instead, that's significantly more valuable. Google, go ahead and bid more. There. Okay, so we go ahead and click apply, and we've got that edit value section. So the next thing we have is this warning pop-up saying to use customer acquisition. You need to include an audience segment with at least 1,000 active members in at least one network, basically, for Google to be able to know who your existing customers are, what they look like, things like that. They need some data effectively. So we can define existing customers. It just reiterates up here what you need to do, and then you can add in an audience segment. I'm going to be releasing videos about audience segments soon, so if you're not familiar with how they work on that sort of stuff, make sure you subscribe. You can also find information about that to get cracking, but I'm not going to demonstrate that for now because I really want to focus on this tool, but get that uploaded and then you're all good. So that is the recommended way to use this, is basically, look, we're still going to run your Google ad campaign to maximize conversion value. Remember, that's our widening strategy up here, but we're going to weigh new customers more heavily. We're going to be willing to spend more to put more ads in front of them, increase those impressions in order to acquire new customers, which is something that a lot of Google advertisers have wanted. They don't want all their budget spent on existing customers. And I understand that you can go one step further and get really quite extreme with this and select this option down here, which is to only bid for new customers. So instead of that waiting system that we established with this option up here, it's I don't want you ever to put ads in front of people that are my existing customers. I only want to get new customers. Now, I don't think that most advertisers should use this. I think advertisers are often too afraid of retargeting and retargeting. Remarketing is a tried and tested method. It works. It's important for reactivation. People aren't wandering through life thinking about your business, so you do need to put ads in front of them again. But there are scenarios where you would want to use this option, where you want to completely exclude people who have interacted with you before. That might be, for example, if you're running a promotion that is only available to new customers and you don't want to annoy your existing customers thinking, well, hang on, why don't I get 20% off or whatever it happens to be? So you can go ahead and offer this option. Once again, you're absolutely going to have to add in an audience segment with at least 1,000 active members, so they can talk, they can Google, can see you existing customers and what they look like and all that sort of stuff. So that's obviously particularly important for this option. Google doesn't recommend this for most advertisers. They recommend this one, and that's what I would do as well. But as I said, in those specific scenarios where it's a new customer only promotion, something along those lines, go ahead and give that a go. So we've been having a bit of a play with both of these options, both of these life cycle goals, and I'd recommend you give them a go. If you do, please let me know in the comments, particularly that first option of the two, because I think that's going to apply to most advertises, that they would weigh acquiring new customers a little bit more heavily than reactivating existing ones. So if you do that, let me know in the comments. And Google have told us that they're going to be releasing new goals like those two that I just showed you in the near future, with other options that are going to basically allow advertisers to use Google's AI to go for exactly what they want, which might be something a little bit different to the previous options when it comes to optimizing ad campaigns and things like that. So instead of just going for conversion value with these ones, we can prioritize new customers. There are going to be other options. I don't know what they are at this point, but that's exciting. Keep an eye out for those. And on the topic of AI features that are really exciting, have you seen Google's new automatically generated assets feature? I explain what it is and how it works here. It's a game changer for us Google advertisers. If you haven't checked it out already, I strongly recommend you go ahead and jump on it.